I really got this like big light bulb moment where I had been doing all this somatic work on all this other healing stuff inside of myself and with other women.
Yep.
When it came to money and business, I was not applying it to myself.
Welcome to Wild and Finally Fucking Free, hosted by me, soul-fueled storyteller Kylie Fatchett. We dive into the truth-talking, unedited stories of metamorphosis, growth, and evolution. I deeply believe that sharing our stories holds transformative magic. Join us to listen to future humans, change agents, extraordinary ordinary people, healers, and paradigm shifters as we honor the power of our messy, magical stories. Let's get wild and finally fucking free together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast. We are, oh my God, I'm so excited for this chat. I'm like so full of bubbly energy because I have just been in one of your containers and I feel like that has been part of what's opened up the door. So welcome, Anna Kinkela, to the podcast. How are
Thank
you?
you. Good. I'm so happy to be here. I know this has been a long time coming, so I'm just
Perfect
so
timing,
excited
though.
to be here.
Perfect timing, as always. Do you want to introduce it? So for those crazy people who have not come across you and your orbit yet, could you introduce your beautiful self, please?
Yes. So my name is Anna Kinkela, and I am a somatic business mentor and receivership coach for way paving women who are here to build a huge body of work and who also just want to receive from their overflow where they don't have to sacrifice themselves, their health, their body, their desires, or the money that they want to make. And I really help them translate that into business success that feels like an exhale. So
Oh,
my work.
that's exactly what I just did in my body as you were talking. I'm like, yeah. This is the magic of being in your space. Because I feel like I was saying before we started recording, like I feel like the two big lessons for me, and we're recording this at the end of 2024, but I feel like two things have become really clear after being in your space. And I have to say also, like I've been in your low cost containers and free stuff also multiple times. So I want to talk about the Empress, the activation point in New Zealand that I have shared with you. But I feel like the two things that you have really gifted me is this: A, you can desire what you desire, and there's nothing, there's nothing like bad or wrong or not possible or whatever. So you can own the fullness of that, but also that your business can nourish you.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like those two things in my head have been at such a disconnect.
Mhm.
And this is why I love interviewing people and understanding their journey as well, because it's like, how did you get here? So can you, like, let's go back. And I know your background is trauma as well. So can you share with us a little bit about kind of the backstory of how you came to this work?
Yeah. Gosh, if someone would have told me I was going to be doing this work, I would have been like, what are you even
What?
talking about?
That's a thing.
And in such a beautiful way that our bodies of work just initiate us. And
Oh,
yeah,
gorgeous.
my background is as a trauma therapist.
Mhm.
So I did that kind of work for about 10, 12 years, and primarily worked with I started out working with women and trauma, and then I kind of transitioned into veterans and working with trauma. I lived in the US for a really long time. So my dream was to really be inside of a PTSD clinic doing really specific targeted work
Mhm.
with veterans and women to help them heal.
Wow.
And I achieved that dream by the time I was like 30 some years old. And, I was like,
You're like,
"Okay."
okay.
Um, but also by that point, I had felt really burnt out,
Mm.
by the work because, doing trauma-based work inside of a larger system, healthcare system, and, um, really I'm a manifestor in human design, so obviously, like, someone was telling me how I was doing the healing and when I was doing the healing and all of those things, and so I think it was just a lot of things that combined and culminated
Yes.
into this moment where I was like, "I can't do this anymore. I just feel like there's something else, and I need to step out of doing healing work in the way that I was doing it." Um,
Mm.
and
So,
so that's when I left and started my business.
so I'm really interested when you, because of all the work you've done on receivership,
Mhm.
can you still feel in your body what that was like when you were like, if you just think about, like, I'm imagining inside of a system that you probably also don't believe in because it's broken in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about my backstory being in medical science and finding that, like, this is not according to my value system. It's not upholding the human needs in front of me, all those things. But also, you're time regulated, you're a manifester, so you're not allowed to have those creative and, lull and
Mhm.
rest cycles.
Yeah.
Can you feel that still when you talk about it?
If I tune back in,
Mm.
yes, I can kind of feel my past body self that was in that space.
Mhm.
And when I reflect back on it, I mean, it was insane because I was seeing like anywhere between 6 to 10 clients a day. And, I realize in order to have survived in that environment for that long, I really had to check out of my body to
Yeah,
be able to put things into compartments and to just be able to function and survive. And
yeah,
so there's just been a lot of awareness for me. I don't think I even realized I was in burnout when I was in it. It was more of
yes.
like, I just need to leave. I need to get out of here. My body hurts. Like this, we can't do this anymore. And so there's just been a lot of unpacking for me around like, wow, I stuffed like so many things underneath the
Yeah,
surface in order to just be able to function in
yeah,
that environment and
yeah,
to do what I was doing.
yeah.
So I was very checked out and just
Mm.
not feeling very connected to myself or to my life,
Yeah.
which is what ultimately made me leave because I was like, this does not feel like me. Like, this is not how I started off or how I want to continue.
No. Yeah, and also I feel like there's a part of me that's like, especially when you've stepped into something that you thought was a dream, but it still doesn't feel good,
Mhm.
then that's discombobulating in itself, right? It's like I'm working towards this thing, now I've got it. And
Yeah.
I actually do not feel nourished, satisfied, connected at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you first started your business, so you went straight from that to starting a business. Did you have a time when you just had to just bloody recover from what you now look back and go, actually, I was burnt out?
Yeah. I actually think like the first 3 years of my business was burnout recovery.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was really angry and frustrated with myself because it felt like I just couldn't get going in my business. I was in a type of freeze response
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like I just wanted to, but it was like no matter what I did, I kept hitting all these blocks. I like invested so much and did all the things and I was like, okay, well this isn't going very well.
This is not what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I was placing a lot of blame on myself, but looking back, I'm realizing it was like a huge period of recovery for my nervous
Yeah.
system
Yeah.
where I just actually needed to rest and recover. And if
Mm.
I had surrendered to that or acknowledged that sooner, maybe my healing process would have unfolded a little bit differently. But also, it was what it was. And my
It
body took
led
the
you
time that
to
it
where,
needed
yeah.
to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then at the end of those 3 years is when I actually started to find nervous system receivership work and what that looked like through my lens.
So
Um,
cool. So I would almost feel like, I don't know. I just believe there's a golden thread that runs through all of us that call us, and it unfolds and pulls us towards what we're meant to be doing and what we're meant to be delivering. And so maybe it was by design that you didn't figure out that you needed to actually really rest because you had to feel the sensation of
yeah.
not being nourished to find the receivership work.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
When I'm interested, because when you were checked out, like when you've left that job and you're in those first 3 years, actually, I want to reverse out of that question. One thing that I've noticed inside of containers that I've been in with you is that there is a pattern of women in business being scared to take on too much because they have experienced burnout before.
Yeah.
Me included. Like, I was literally journaling this morning about this big expansion into being a lot more visible, holding space for a lot more people. And one of the things that keeps coming up every morning about the like, the little fear parts is like, this is going to be a lot of work. Like a lot, I don't know whether I can handle it because I have burnt out before. And I have to keep on just tending to myself going, no, this is a different way of being. We're approaching it differently, doing things that are actually easy for you to do and nourishing and all those things. But I've heard you having conversations in coaching calls with other people that are like, I can't do this because I'm going to go back into burnout. Is that
Mhm.
something that you see a lot, or has that just happened to be where I've been?
No, I hear that a lot. It's probably one of the most common things that comes up.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's because of the kinds of women that I attract into my spaces in
Hmm.
particular, because of the kind of work that I do, or if it is something that I think probably also exists in a larger kind of way in the
Yeah.
collective, and that I think all of us have probably experienced like ways of working and doing that just deplete us.
Yes.
And so when you step onto a path of I really want this to be different. I want this to feel different. I want my quality of life to be online as I
Mm.
grow my body of work.
Mm.
That fear naturally comes in. And
Yes.
just from my own experience, I don't know that I have that fear in particular.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe I had it at a certain point, but I don't have it in particular, probably because my fear of not expressing my work in the world is
Yes.
bigger than it. And so I mostly focus on that
Yep.
fear
Yep.
if
Yep.
we're
Yep.
talking about fears, but,
Yep.
I think what I noticed, like, inside of myself is, like, I could actually never go back to that because my body is so sensitized now
Yes.
that, like, when I'm even in situations that clearly are misaligned, like, where my body's just being drained because I don't love the work or I'm not
Hmm.
feeling lit up. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, I literally cannot even sit in this room anymore." Like, I can't actually physically do this
Yeah.
anymore
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way that I was because my coping strategies are now not there. Like, the protections are like, "Okay, you're now this, like, person that knows how to honor her nourishment."
Yes. And
And
this is my flaw, right? Like this is
yeah.
an absolutely essential rule of my reality that my nervous system must be taken care of. I am relating hard because I feel like I have got, and I do think that this is partly perimenopause as well, because start your estrogen starts dropping and your accommodation just goes out the window. But I really do have a very low tolerance for any form of self abandonment or making someone else's needs more important than mine, or any of that kind of checking out and making myself not important nourishment wise. I'm just like, I have a very low threshold, like a very low, to the point where, same thing, like if I find myself in a room that's, I'm actually just like, I'm interrupting this to say, all right, so this is not the right place for me and I am exiting because I just cannot physically be there anymore.
Yeah. The
So,
toler the
yeah,
tolerance
yeah,
level is
yeah,
not there
yeah, yeah.
anymore, which
Which
is
is,
a very good thing. Like, I think you just get to
mhm,
the place where you're like, "I am the most important piece in this equation,
yep.
and I don't need to sacrifice my well-being for money." There actually gets to be a different way
Yeah.
being created.
Which I love. Then this is the whole thing. I want to go back to when you started finding this type of work, because you weren't when you found this type of work, you weren't straight into like, okay, now I'm going to be teaching about receivership. You said there was a bit of a
Mhm.
journey for you personally. And I know, I love how you talk about how receivership of love and receivership of money have quite,
Mhm.
they've been,
Connected.
yeah, very connected for you. So tell us a bit more about that journey. I love
Yeah.
this story.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, so in the first 3 years of my business, I was working with a lot of female leaders,
Mhm.
and, I was doing somatic work. It just wasn't, like, messaging-wise or intention-wise anchored into receivership.
Gotcha.
But I kept seeing the thread, like, when I look back, there was just, like, such a hard receivership thread. And then
Mhm.
for me personally, inside of that journey, what, like, the turning point was I really got this, like, big light bulb moment where I had been doing all this somatic work on all this other healing stuff inside of myself and with other women.
Yep.
When it came to money and business, I was not applying it to myself, and I was like, "Wait, what? Like, I do this work with people all the time, and I
So
literally have not
funny.
applied this to, like, my own money and my own
Yeah.
business, and
Yeah, yeah.
so I was like, "Holy shit, like, what am I doing?" And so I was like, "Okay, like, let's play with this. Let's, like, see what's possible." Because at the time in the coaching industry, especially, like, it was all about mindset and strategy and
Oh,
energy,
yes.
and it had nothing to do with nervous system. Nobody even knew what the nervous system was until
Mm.
2 years ago in the coaching.
Yeah, no, right? It's had its time in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's popular, which
Yeah.
is amazing. But yeah, and so I really started turning towards like, okay, how can I actually get my nervous system anchored into safety with money? Because
Mhm.
I am such an avoider.
Mhm.
It shows up in lots of different ways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
my nervous system patterning.
Mhm.
And so I was avoiding money and I wanted to welcome in money. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
that
right?
doesn't track. That's not gonna work. So I started to play around with it in my body, and I was like, "Okay, like, how do I actually feel, in the room with money? Can I help my nervous system start to anchor into more safety and connection with money?"
Mhm.
Um, and so parallel to that work, of course, like, in my personal relationships with partners, I also was experiencing a lack of receivership. And, you experience lack of receivership until you don't, until something shifts,
Yes,
but
yeah, until you decide you're not available for that anymore, yes.
exactly, until you create the boundary, and
Yes.
so I was just kind of noticing this parallel, okay, I'm feeling similarly with money as I'm feeling
Mhm.
inside of my intimate partnerships,
Mhm.
and, I wasn't necessarily connecting the dots fully, but I was like, "Huh, okay, that's interesting."
Mhm.
Um, and really, I continued to calibrate with money, but concurrently, what was unfolding inside of my love life was like I had let go of these partnerships and drew a line in the sand with like vague situationships, particularly the last situationship that I had, which was like completely not meeting me,
Yeah.
where my inner child was coming out and like chasing and just wanting to like
Oh,
get
dear.
love and
Yeah.
validation. And I was like, okay, hold up. Like, this isn't actually what I want for myself. Like, inner child, like,
Yeah,
let's
and
do
the
a little bit
grippy,
of
grabby,
exploration. Yeah.
like, I'm not receiving, I'm
Yeah, I'm grasping for it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I did like this like final severance ceremony with
Mm.
that level of receivership. And I was like, I'm literally done. Like, I will be single for the rest of my life.
Yes.
I am okay with that
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
if I just can receive from, like, another human being in a way that is meeting me.
Mm.
Um, and then literally a month later, I met my now husband, Joey. And so I do talk about that a lot in that, when I first met him, there was almost like this, like a little bit of discomfort in the space because I was like, I don't even know what I'm feeling here. Like, usually
This
I
is
get like
new.
all these butterflies and I get so excited and I'm like, okay, we're on. Like, this guy's great. Like, let's do this. And with him, it was like I feel connected to him. Like, I feel good in the space, but then also like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I'm not really sure. And I kind of came to the conclusion, oh, this is like what safety feels like. This
Oh,
is
that's what I
like,
was about to say.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
foreign to my nervous system to feel this way, but there's like a safety of intimate connection in the
Mm.
space here that I haven't fully felt before.
Mhm.
And it was just like so fascinating to observe that and to realize that. And when I realized it, I was like, okay, okay, this is a good thing. The fact that it's
Yes.
like kind of weird is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's lean into this a little bit more. And, you know, 3 months after we met, we moved in together.
Yeah.
And then 3 months after that, my business started taking off at a whole other level.
Mm.
And it was like things clicked in inside of my nervous system that I mean, maybe I would have gotten there with, like, the money work that I was doing
Yeah.
anyway, but, there's something like, we heal in relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
there
Mm.
was just something very powerful about experiencing that inside of a connection with another human being that
Mm.
allowed me to feel held and seen in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Um And so, yeah, there was just a lot of kismet around, you know, that love connection and money because it
Mm.
was, on our anniversary that same year, I booked out Nectar in like waitlist
Ah,
enrollment and had like a 50K month. And it was just like, it was just so obviously like, hello,
like,
like,
strap yourself
uh,
in.
yeah, it was not subtle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just like really drove home the receivership work at a whole different level. And I was like,
Mhm.
wow, okay, like this is my work.
Do you
Um,
do you sorry.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I just as you're saying, I'm like, even around the nectar, because you were saying before, like, you were kind of literal like, clear with messaging and, you know,
Mhm.
calling attention to the gap that there is if there isn't this work in the background of a business. And I'm wondering whether when you met Joey and you had that sense of safety, which was, you know, new but
Mhm.
felt good, like do you feel like being seen and heard inside of a relationship and feeling safe with that allowed you also the capacity to do that in a business sense? In that, like, I'm going out there with something that hasn't been done before, isn't being spoken about, isn't as much in the collective as what it is now. How long ago is this too? What years are we?
So I met Joey in 2020.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay,
Mm, yeah, so
so about
we got
four-ish.
engaged in 2021, so a
Yeah, gotcha. Cool.
couple of years ago. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually such an excellent question. Because I do think the receivership work gets at our visibility capacity, and in turn, like, impacts the way that we feel safe to talk about our work in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember, I was someone who never talked about money because I was avoidant about money. Like, this was not something like, and so it was very new for me to start speaking about that on my platform, and
Mm,
it felt very vulnerable, like, "Ooh, now I'm gonna, like, reveal myself as, like, this, like, money-hungry animal who, like, doesn't care about anyone," like, all of the stories that we,
yeah.
tell ourselves about what it means to welcome in money.
Uh-huh.
And so I just had all of these, like, "Oh my god, all these mentors are gonna judge me that have known me to be doing, like, this, like, soul work, and now I'm, like, selling out and talking about
But you
money."
are doing soul work. It's
I
just
totally
through
am, yeah.
receivership. Like, oh
It is.
my
It is
goodness.
total soul work, and at the time for me, it, like, felt like, "Oh, they're gonna judge this so surface level, and, like, this doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things," and,
Oh,
like, all of this
wow.
stuff was coming up for me, and I was scared shitless to talk about it on my platform,
Mhm.
and then I was like, "Okay, like, option 1, I don't talk about it, and then, like, basically regret it for the rest of my life because this is coming through so strongly, or option 2, I just bite the bullet and let myself,
Mm,
risk being rejected or not liked or
yeah.
whatever, or judged." And I just, like, was like, "Let me just, like, start talking about it and see what happens." And
So
it was,
cool.
like, insane. People were like, "What?"
It's pretty insane that you made that commitment, because I literally I feel like I'm interviewing myself in 4 years' time, because I feel like I'm actually right in this at the moment, literally, where I just because I was someone said to me the other day, like, "Oh, you got overnight success." And I'm like, "No, no, no, this has been coming for a long time." And but really, if it comes down to it, to me, there was a very clear line in the sand where I was like, this is what I desire. I decide I can have it. It is safe. I have the ability to get there. And I just stepped into that reality. Literally, I was just like, I'm going to that timeline, lay it down on the floor and step into it. So I feel like there's a very clear decision. And I feel like as you're talking, like I see you, 4 years down the track here, and you're so clear and powerful in this body of work. So it's just really cool to hear you speak about stepping into it and claiming it. So do you feel like that the claiming thing, I feel like, has been um, the edgiest thing for me, at least in this expansion. Um, but having that immediate feedback to fill a program from a wait list,
Yeah.
what are
It
you
was
doing?
Yeah, and you know what? It was because I let myself lean into the receivership and the visibility connection, right?
Yeah.
because months before that, I was just, like, talking about this on repeat, like,
Mm.
sharing because I had so much that was coming through my channel, like, it was an honest, like, creative
Me too.
urge. Yeah, it was just like, "It's flowing through me, I need to share this,"
Yep.
and it just, like, warmed up my audience to the point where it was like, "Boom, yes, we are it."
Yeah, yeah. Like you've already, I feel like that. I was saying it to my husband last night. I feel like I'm under a like waterfall at the moment of this like message just gushing. And I'm like, can I just have a little time off to sleep, please? Like I just like that. And I'm noticing in myself, um, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of women, like clients that I work with, and also in my like masterminds and spaces that I've been in that are still at the edge of like, I can't share because that's salesy and this is blah, blah, blah. And just when you are available for really what you're here to do, I have not felt like that anymore because I just feel like this is way bigger than me. This is not coming from me. I'm just the person who's being tapped on the shoulder.
Yes.
And so then it just becomes like I'm sharing about it because I'm so bloody lit up by it. And I think that's what's magnetic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%, because I think it's like it's the body of work that's moving through you, and it's not actually about you.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you get to use it as a vehicle for your own individual desires and things
Yes.
like that, which is beautiful. But it's about something so much bigger. And, I shared this somewhere at some point, but
Yeah.
I just, when I was in my early 20s before I became a therapist, I worked for a rape crisis center
Oh, yes. Yes, yes,
doing
yes.
community organizing.
Yeah.
And I remember just like I knocked on 80 to 120 doors every single night
Yeah.
and like literally had the most uncomfortable conversation with complete strangers at the door that like was activating my nervous system. But I believed in the mission, right? I believed
Yes.
in what I was out there to do. And
Mhm.
it allowed me to like overcome those
Mhm.
internal voices that were worried about how I was going to come off because I was, like, so invested in the mission and the vision,
Yeah.
and I think that's where entrepreneurs sometimes get lost is we have the vision and mission coming through, but
Mhm.
we get so caught up in our own personal stuff that we don't
Yeah.
know we have to learn how to be fully in service to the vision.
Hey, gorgeous. We interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real time, high touch, one on one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. Yep. It just reminded me of a conversation I've had often with my husband where it's like, Pet, he calls me Pet, it always has, since the night we met in 1996. Pet, it's not fucking about you. He's like, he keeps on, he's always just reminding me, he's like, if you are drawn to do it, it means that you have the capacity to do it. So therefore just bloody well do it. Like, stop fucking around with all this surface sort of. When you feel into receivership now in your own business, what happens? Like, obviously your own work continues to deepen and continues to expand for you, but I also imagine that as you're expanding your capacity, like you're always on the edge of your own message.
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah.
So what is new that's coming for you that feels edgy, or like it's like a next initiation or invitation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I do always find you're on the edge of your own message.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I've applied this message really well to money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I think the way that my body of work has developed over the past 2 to 3 years is that it's really extended into the entire business ecosystem.
Yes.
And that is, I think, where the edge of my message is, because we are, I think, also as like collective, when we think of receivership, we think of like leaning back, we're like receiving. And certainly, like, I think that that is an energy that's present in
Mm-hmm.
receivership. But I do like feel like the receivership lens on the entire business ecosystem, I've found, like, really transforms the way that you approach like messaging, creating offers and structures and systems and strategies and
Everything.
things.
Yeah.
And that's been an edge for me to like really talk about that in my message in a way that I think people understand it. And so that's like where
Interesting.
the part of us comes up where it's like, but do people get what I'm saying here? Like, do
Yeah.
people understand this?
Mhm.
And so I think that that's the edge and the evolution that I'm currently in, because
Mm.
I'm applying this work in so many other different ways.
Yes.
So it's exciting, and also it's like that like fumble of like,
Where is this going?
yeah, what am I saying? Did people
And
get
how
it?
do I apply it? Like, what's the invitation? If you want to teach on that, then what I find always happens is like, then you're looking internally going, well, where am I not applying this? Like, where am I out of resonance with this next iteration?
Mhm.
Um, and I think that comes back to kind of like we were talking about before with the like, I know none of us need to have permission given, but
Yeah.
also being in spaces where there's women who are designing businesses according to their own nourishment is an
Mhm.
invitation to the rest of us. That is just by definition what happens. And I feel like something that has been a massive change in the way that I approach things is I have always, by definition, created a business that repeats an overworking, over delivery pattern in my nervous system. And so,
Mhm.
and I've done many, many layers of healing work and everything, mindset, somatic, like all of the angles. But I feel like it's still edgy for me to go, can I let it be that easy?
Yeah.
Like something that just comes easy. And then when with that lens is like, well, how do I want the next step offering to
Yeah.
feel like for me?
Yeah.
Like, just because someone else is doing a mastermind with X, Y, and Z in it does not mean that I have to just repeat the same thing. Um, what's come up for you when you have been like Nectar, obviously raging
Mhm.
success, but also you've continued to evolve Nectar as well over the years, I would imagine.
Yeah.
What are the things that you've started putting in place in terms of like offering or a team or support of you inside of your business that have felt new?
Mm. my gosh. I feel like I have so many different layers of support.
This is good
The
though, because conversations like this make everyone else go, in a minute, is that possible? Can I really have
Yeah,
a team member doing that for me?
totally. And I think, what I found to be true is like, yes, it's like team and business, but it's also like team and life
Yeah.
that have made some of the biggest
Yes.
shifts in my receivership.
Yeah.
So I'll say like on level of team, like I have different supports inside of the program itself. Like some co-coaches that can kind of
Yeah.
support me to hold different aspects of Nectar.
Yes.
Um, I have, VAs who are supporting me in all the things,
Mhm.
an online business manager who's kind of like
Yes.
directing the show because otherwise nothing functions. Um,
That would be my next on my like, could I just outsource my project management brain, which I actually enjoy, but is
yeah,
not how I see a nourishing business model for me?
yeah,
That would be my next thing.
yes,
Here's where I'd like to go now. You make it happen.
exactly. It
Yeah.
feels so nice when someone
Oh,
takes that over.
so good.
And I also have a tech person who deals with all of the tech Facebook
Mm,
ad kind of things,
mm, mhm.
because I don't like touching tech at all. It does not nourish me. Um, and then I have a designer who designs my web
Yes.
pages and my
Luscious web
marketing
pages. Yes. Oh,
stuff.
so
Yes.
good. So
So
good. So good.
that's oh, and I have a amazing bookkeeper who I will like forever love. She like pretty much does everything money for me.
Oh, so
Like
cool.
she does do bookkeeping, but then
Mhm.
she also manages like client payments and like tracks all of that. And
Mm.
basically, she's a huge part of what also allowed me to get so intimate with my money in a really nice way.
Ah, so
Um,
good.
so
What about outside of your business? Because I think, like we haven't talked about the fact that you have a little person as well, who's very
yeah,
cute.
he's
Every time
so
I see a photo of him, I'm like, oh my God, I miss those days.
oh,
He's just in the most luscious stage. Like my kids are 19 and 20. So, I mean, they're beautiful, but they're not like huggable.
they're not
Gorgeous.
toddler.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So what layers in life have helped for you to feel supported?
yeah. Well, definitely my husband who caretakes for Bruno, on his off days when I'm working, we have kind of opposing schedules because he has more shift work.
Yeah.
And so he's actually caretaking for him right now. And then I have my mother-in-law. We have like family here in the area, which has
Mhm.
been a game changer
Mhm.
because his cousin, they're older. She's like 21, 22. So she actually caretakes for Bruno. Before we've had a nanny, but now she
Yeah.
caretakes for him. We have a house cleaner who comes every single
Oh,
week to do
that is
that.
also on my list.
Yes. It's huge because it takes off the pressure. It's, like, insane how much that takes up space in your head
Yeah.
of, like,
Yeah.
I need to clean." And so she's been amazing, and she's been supporting us with cleaning, um, and yeah, like, acupuncture things, health things like that, but I would say in the household like that,
Mm.
with a kid especially, like, it's
Mhm.
been huge to just have family around, and I don't
Yeah.
think everybody has that luxury and that privilege, but, at the least, having a nanny, even if for, like, 2 to 3 hours a day just, like, makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I look back at the version of me in my first iteration of business when my kids were little, and I just think, anyway, let's
It
you can't go backwards. So let's
yeah.
not do that to ourselves. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, maybe I will be really present and available for my grandchildren if and when they occur. Not that I'm inviting them right now. Thank you very much. Just to be clear. Um, I'm interested when you feel into like when I was saying before, do you remember how you felt nervous system wise back when you were working? Can you like what's changed? Like if someone's listening and going, I don't even really understand what you're saying about this sense of receivership.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through like if you can contrast like how did it feel when you were first stepping into Nectar versus how you feel now so that people can kind of see the
Mm.
potential of this work, I think. That's kind of where I wanna go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I might even, like anchor it into our concept of money because I think we equate, money, time equals like
Yes.
different kinds of receivership, right?
Mhm.
And so, when I was working as a therapist, it was very much like I have to put in all of these hours in order to receive this amount of money.
Yeah.
And basically, like my level of connection in my body was not there at all.
Mhm.
Um, because in order to do that kind of model, I had to disconnect from it.
Yeah.
Most people are not made to, like, work for full 8
Oh God,
hours and
no.
then also not actually be making the money that they need to live,
Yes.
which I think unfortunately is the situation most people are in this world,
Yes.
mm, where we're really like our nervous systems are trained into, in order for me to live, I need to be working all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think the shift comes in like, what if we shift that paradigm on its head and we talk about like my level of nourishment and aliveness actually allows me to amplify my money tenfold
Ooh.
without having to put in as much time and energy into it.
Yes.
And, to even like try that on in your body, like, what if
Yeah,
I
I know. I'm kind of like, hang on, hang on. Let me
hang
catch
on,
up here. Let me catch up. My body is going, whoa, whoa.
it is like and this is why I call it a receivership paradigm because
Yes.
it is a complete flip on an extraction-based paradigm.
Yes.
And, it really is, like, honestly, like, I think about this work as ancestral lineage work because
Mhm.
when we look back on, like, what our ancestors had the capacity to do
Yeah.
inside of their own lives, even specifically our maternal lineages that
Yes.
women couldn't even own property, didn't have the right to have a bank account, like, all these insane things that, like, now
Yeah.
we do have that right, like, barely, but we do. And,
Well, yes.
um, you know, like, really rewriting our capacity to receive from this place of like, I actually don't need to put the extraction first. I
Mhm.
actually get to put receivership first. And so,
Yes.
like, what could it feel in my body to know that if I provide for my body first and my nourishment first, then money actually just gets to grow in a completely different kind of way from a different paradigm.
Yeah.
And this requires a huge trust leap.
Yeah.
Like, it really requires you to trust the thing you cannot see that you can, like, start to feel in your body, which is how you
Mhm.
build trust with it,
Yes.
to, like, let that kind of paradigm actually anchor itself in,
Mhm.
and that most of us, like, actually all of us are designed to receive in a very specific kind of way that doesn't
Yes.
rely on our extraction in order to establish that.
Yeah.
And so I've just like seen the direct relationship between when people feel nourished in their body and they move from that space, they
Mhm.
come to me and they're like, holy shit, how did I just make like 12K with like less time and energy than I did in my last launch? And it's not connected to rational mind because we can like
Nope.
make up all the reasons why we need to like do more and more in
Mhm.
order to make the amount of money that we want. But like, when you really repattern the receivership piece, it just starts to open itself up in a different kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's, I had this, we're playing a game at the moment because I'm in promotional period at the moment, running ads. They're going crazy well. And so my husband and I have this little game in the morning where it's like, get out of bed and find out how much money you arrive while we sleep. And it is such like for me, I need to make this playful and light. Otherwise I feel like, yeah, I just feel like when I keep things playful and light, it feels like I'm like peeking into this different field of possibilities and just,
Yeah.
like widening. And I feel like that's the power of being in containers where people are stepping into different receivership and that we're having these conversations going, money does not have to equal time in. And but I want to talk to when you were saying about ancestral patterning, because you've been speaking about like you are from originally from a migrant, like immigrated to Australia with your family. Is that right? No,
Oh, no.
States. Sorry.
To
I
the
got that
US.
wrong. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
to
yes,
the
yes.
US. It's
Um,
confusing because 'cause I've lived in so many
yeah, no,
different
that's what I'm like, hang on, is she I don't know. But I had a moment just recently where I realized that I had a huge tendril of my receivership stuck in the fact that my dad was my best friend, but he also was born in the Depression and had a very particular view of money. And I didn't realize until I was in a coaching call. And yeah, I just was like, oh God, I feel like allowing this to be easy is betraying
Mhm.
this loved figure. And I come from a long line of, army. So he was army, but also dairy farmers, beef cattle farmers, like blue collar, working really fucking hard until your body breaks, literally.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm like, this is literally woven through my ancestral lineage, and this is up to me to change the way that it occurs for me and also for my daughters and everyone else that comes after me. Um, can you talk a little bit more about that? Like from what we see, what's patterned in our DNA, what we used to, and how, even if that were so, there are still ways of opening up to this new
Mhm.
form of receivership.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, so I'm from Croatia originally,
Mhm.
and, a big thing that people are rewarded for inside of that culture, I think this is true of most other cultures, is you work really hard, you put in the work,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you make the money, and
Mhm.
that there is something very, mm, like, almost like
Virtuous.
character building, like,
Yes.
you are rewarded for being a hard worker,
Mhm.
which is a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
but also it kind of, like, propagates this, like, I need to be worked to the bone in order to survive,
Yeah.
and in order to earn it, right?
Earn
For it
it.
to
Exactly.
earn what I
Yep.
have in my
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if you don't do that, then you're lazy and not worthy of what you receive,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And so it kinda creates this dichotomy of like, well, I don't wanna be lazy and not earn it. I need to work hard, like hustle, do all the things
Yes.
in order to be successful. And
Yeah.
so that's definitely woven through like our society and culture as a whole,
Yes.
through, just a general conditioned way of like giving our body up to the machine,
Mhm.
right?
Work equals worth. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I also just think that, like, for women in particular, when it comes to receivership, women are really conditioned to give, 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 be everything for everyone.
Everybody
So I have to be
else.
the successful entrepreneur. I have to be the like caring and doting mother and the loving and attentive wife. And I do all of the things
I'm exhausted.
flawlessly. I'm fucking superwoman. And I do not have mental breakdowns. Like I am happy and I'm healthy all the time.
We
And
have not been set up to fail at all.
not at all, not at all. And so, whether or not we buy into those things on a conscious level, those things have been very much interwoven into how we've been trained
Yeah.
as women in our society, and particularly like desire, pleasure. Those things are filled with shame, filled with guilt, filled with like, oh, like I don't deserve that. Like I need to not give that to myself until I can like do all the things, check off all the things, right? And so it's like a triple, quadruple whammy.
We're
Um,
screwed.
yeah, we're basically
I,
screwed,
I,
but not. There's hope.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, and this is what I'm so passionate about, people sharing how they come to their work. We are swimming in an ocean that we can't see.
Yeah.
And so until it is brought to our conscious awareness, there's not even a potential to open up the field of possibilities because it's just how it is. And particularly if you've also come from, the like money doesn't grow on trees or the like
Oh
all of
yeah.
that stuff on top of that, which I feel like I was saying to someone the other day, like I never ever got the messaging that we were poor or anything as a kid. And I also saw, and I still have boxes of them. I feel like this is something that needs to be burnt very soon. Boxes and boxes of, I don't know if you were here back in the days where this, but there was when I was at school, there was these exercise books that had these mustard yellow covers. I have got boxes of them with every single cent that my father ever spent in them.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Like every single to the cent from the 1950s to he died in 2011.
Oh my gosh.
Will be sacrificed.
Yeah.
This I'm like, this is done. This cycle is done.
A great way to repattern the lineage right there.
I've been burning shit all over the place this year. Like every time I find something that's like old tax returns or anything that had that, like you were saying before, like that avoidant pattern with money, not looking at finances or making decisions that I have made myself wrong for or shamed myself for, that type of stuff. It's like, no, that can all go. It's not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
I want to share the little story about Epiphany Point because I feel like this is one of those, it's an example of receivership work in real time. So I'm turning 50 in January, so probably around the time this comes out. But I knew that my Chiron return was like in my 49th year sometime. And so I had an astrology reading around my 49th birthday. And it turns out that it was on the solar eclipse and then it turns out that just by coincidence, except of course, I was in New Zealand at a place called Waiheke Island, which is just stunningly gorgeous, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you were running, I can't remember, it wasn't the first one I came to of yours was like Money Honey, but is that another iteration, like another 3-day thing? And it just so happened to be across that time. And so I had been having these dreams about being on the top of a cliff face and being this like very obviously really powerful, like I want to say like motherfucking warrior queen, like that type of real like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have to use my power or magic outwardly, but there is a shit ton of it in there. And I've been having those like really like body sensation dreams. And then anyway, so I'm listening to, I think it was day 2 of your experience. And I had been leaving early in the morning because who I was with was like they're late sleepers and I'm not. So I'm like, tramping through, da, 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 da. And just as you start doing the somatic repatterning process in this free container, I come across this cliff face that I have dreamt about before. And I shit you not, and I sent you the photo yonks ago before you really knew me. You're probably thinking, okay. But I actually came to a clearing that was called Epiphany Point. And I'm just like, are you shitting me? So here I am, like sweaty as with a backpack on. I've got my earbuds in and I'm like standing at Epiphany Point doing because you lead people through like an expansion process. And I was just like, I don't know what magic is going on here, but I am in for it.
It's unfolding.
But yeah, I feel like I chose the Empress as my archetype. I actually didn't choose her. She chose me. But anyway, that's a whole other kettle of fish. I just feel like it's all just been, I feel like when we start trusting our instincts and that our life is unfolding as it should, then mentors like you come to us when we need the message. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And yeah, now I find myself, well, what is it? At the time of recording, however many months that is. And I just think, oh, this was actually this was being written. Yeah. So I think, I feel like I share that story just to say that it doesn't matter what relationship you've had with receiving, particularly money, particularly, for women in business. There is definitely for all of us, no matter how avoidant or how like I definitely, fingers in my ears, not thinking about it, not receiving it, being scared of it, never enough of it, whatever the stories were, to see that the shift is possible across that short amount of time. And yeah, I just feel like I said before, like I've plucked a timeline that is completely different. Actually, that might be my final question in terms of quantum shifting, because this is something that you do speak to, like, you're in your business, you're making a certain amount of money, and then you have this massive, and that's around the same time as the first launch, I'm imagining.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened for you in terms of like, let's talk about quantum shifts in terms of, receivership of money. And we know that the Joey love story is happening in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So you mean how I quantum shifted?
Yeah.
What that process looks like?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, like when we talk about like quantum leaps or quantum shifts, and you kind of like tapped into this a little bit later.
Yeah.
They happen because we've had a period of nervous system capacity growth that preceded that.
Yeah.
And then we allow ourselves to completely jump the timeline, and it's like all of that capacity that we've built up until that point kind of catches up with us, right?
Yes. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
exactly what it is because it's time doesn't exist, right? And so in our, conscious understanding of it, we've been like doing this for like 2 years, for 3 years, for however many years.
yes.
And all it takes is like this micro shift
Mhm.
into a different kind of somatic awareness inside of yourself. And I really do see the importance of like feeling that on a somatic level.
Mhm.
And so it's
Mm.
our nervous system being in its capacity to receive the quantum shift and like fully anchor it in and embody it.
Yeah.
Which is why I talk so much about nervous system like calibration work, because it's like
Yes.
that is actually what allows us to like step onto the other timeline
Mhm.
and make it a reality. And
Mm.
so I think for me, it just like in the moment, it felt like I was kind of on this like huge wave that I just kind of had to move with it. It was like,
Yes.
I mean, you always have a choice, but also it kind of felt like I did it. I was
Yeah.
just like moving.
I just keep on saying to my husband, "I'm in a slipstream. It's really cool, but it's like new."
Yeah.
But it does feel like a slipstream. It's like I really yes, I definitely could because I'm always, sovereign. I could step out of it, but I'm choosing not to. And it's really cool to
Yeah.
understand that. Actually, I love the way that you describe this. I think that was inside of Lush where you were talking about trusting the cycles of like the wave. Like, sometimes we do need to like rest, rejuvenate, and kind of yeah, wait for the next flow to come. And I think that's probably where I've screwed myself the most in the past is just expecting that I would always be in a summertime
Mhm.
expansive phase, but of course not having the capacity to receive anyway. So it's like you're screwed both ways. So yeah, I just I feel like sometimes when before I've been experiencing it myself and I've read like about quantum shifting, I've always had that kind of degree of like, oh, what bullshit kind of in my really, if I'm very honest, like, yeah, right. Okay. It can't be that easy. But actually, it's not that it's easy. It's just a culmination of multiple layers of expansion. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of
Mm.
people talk about the quantum crumble, like, because as you're, tapping into a whole new receivership paradigm,
Hmm.
there is like a period of a lot of things are going to fall away that are not in resonance with that new
Yeah.
receivership paradigm. And it can be very discombobulating in the moment because
Yep.
you're like, well, what the F? Like, nothing's
Yes.
working. Like, all this seems to be falling apart. And,
Yep.
sometimes we don't talk about that enough because I think that, like, as we establish a new paradigm of receivership, there is a bit of a crumble. And
Has
it
to
doesn't
be.
always have to be like a tower moment per se, but sometimes
Hmm.
it is a tower moment.
Mm.
And then you catch the wave and you're like, "Oh, okay,
Oh,
this is
that's why.
what it was preparing me for. It was
Yes.
preparing my nervous system capacity to be able to move in these ways, like hold this in these
Hmm.
ways
Hmm.
and not sink in the
Yeah.
way."
Yeah.
Um, because
And
that's the whole shift.
yeah, it is I feel like as we're talking, it's almost like I always come back to that like analogy of like what's the trapeze people? Like
Mm,
you actually need to have a level of self-trust and trust in the unfurling that will allow you to let go of that to be able to reach for this or receive that really. Um yeah, and I was just talking to a dear friend this morning and she's like, I am going through a death cycle. And I'm like, that's so exciting. And she's I'm like, that's what happens before you like some big change is coming and you've just signed up for all of the, shedding that happens before that. It's all good.
yeah,
Um
yeah.
mm,
Mm,
mm. Oh,
wonderful.
thank you. You have been as magical as I knew you would be. But thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And thank you for you stepping into and saying yes to this work when it did feel edgy.
Mm,
Because thank God, because then otherwise I wouldn't have found you and you like, I just feel like what we said about it's not actually about you, this message and the mission is far bigger. So if people are listening and still on that, "Ugh, can I really say that? Can I really want that? Can I really do that? can I really offer that? It's like, yes, because it's not about you.
Yes, exactly. Wise
Oh,
words.
thank you
Thank you
so
so much
much.
for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Wild and Finally Fucking Free. I'm Kylie, your host. And given that I know you would have enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor and subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow freedom seekers. Remember, being seen in all our mess and magic helps heal ourselves and the world, because the world needs more wild and finally fucking free humans. Have a great day.